Venezuela, land of beauty, land of oil, land of deep, deep trouble. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, this election is a huge deal. We're talking about a country teetering on the edge of, well, more edge. The economy? Let's just say inflation makes a roulette wheel look stable. People are struggling, fleeing, desperate for change. This election? It's not just about picking a president, it's about picking a future. On one side, you've got Nicolás Maduro, the incumbent. He's been in charge for years, and let's just say his track record is about as impressive as a screen door on a submarine. On the other, Edmundo González. He's the opposition's best shot, a unity candidate trying to rally a nation battered and bruised. The stakes? Higher than a giraffe on stilts wearing a top hat. This isn't just politics, folks, it's personal. Nicolás Maduro. He's like that guest who overstays their welcome, except instead of a couch, he's occupying a whole country. He talks a big game, inheriting the socialist mantle of Hugo Chavez. Problem is, somewhere along the line, the revolution went from power to the people to power to, well, Maduro. His campaign? It's all about Chavez's legacy. Think of it as a political seance trying to channel the spirit of a popular leader. Except instead of spooky pronouncements, you get promises of economic recovery that have the credibility of a $3 bill. Maduro's banking on nostalgia, on fear of change, but the reality on the ground, it's getting harder to ignore with each passing day. Edmundo González, he's the guy everyone's pinning their hopes on. The underdog, the unifier, the one who promises to turn the Titanic of a nation away from the iceberg. But, let's be real, he's got his work cut out for him. He's facing an uphill battle against a system that's about as fair as a rigged carnival game. We're talking voter intimidation, media control, the whole shebang. But González, he's got this scrappy underdog energy. He's talking about unity, about change, about a brighter future. Whether he can pull it off? That's the million-believe-our question. Section 4, a call for transparency. Here's the thing about elections, they're only as good as the people running them. And in Venezuela? Well, let's just say the term fair play isn't exactly in the rule book. The opposition? They're crying foul, and for good reason. They're demanding transparency, international observers, the whole 9 yards. They want to make sure every vote counts, that there's no funny business going on behind the scenes. They're like that friend who insists on counting the cards before a poker game just to make sure nobody's trying to pull a fast one. It's a long shot, sure, but hey, at least they're fighting for a fair shake. Section 5. The world is watching. This isn't just a Venezuelan problem, folks. This is a regional crisis in the making. The international community's got its eyes on Venezuela, and they're not liking what they see. You've got sanctions, condemnations, the whole diplomatic fruit basket being thrown at the problem. Why should we care? Well, for starters, there's the humanitarian crisis. People are fleeing by the millions, seeking refuge in neighboring countries. It's like a human tsunami, and it's only going to get worse if things don't change. Plus, nobody wants an unstable, desperate country with a boatload of oil reserves just sitting there. That's a recipe for disaster. So, yeah, the world's watching, hoping for the best, but bracing for, well, more of the same. Section 6, the shadow of Chavez. You can't talk about Venezuelan politics without talking about Hugo Chavez. He's the ghost at the banquet, the elephant in the room, Look, you get the idea. He's gone, but his presence is still felt everywhere. For some, he's a hero, the champion of the poor, the man who stood up to the gringos. For others, he's the architect of this mess, the one who set Venezuela on the path to ruin. Love him or hate him, there's no denying his impact. And that's the legacy Maduro's clinging to, for better or worse. The question is, can he escape Chavez's shadow and forge his own path? Or is Venezuela doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. The future's looking about as certain as a game of Russian roulette with a fully loaded revolver. Stay tuned, folks, this is gonna be a bumpy ride.